There was no shortage of politicians at Wednesday's March on Washington anniversary, but no one from the GOP's leadership. Some invitees had to decline for health reasons, others because of scheduling conflicts. They said they were invited too late. But that's not sitting well with former RNC Chairman Michael Steele, who called the lack of attendance at such a major event a, quote, bonehead move. For more, we turn to Bob Parks, national spokesperson for Project 21, a leadership network for conservative African Americans. Thanks for joining us. Good morning. Thanks for coming in. First, let's talk a little bit more about Project 21. Tell me a little bit about the organization and the goal. It's not a Republican organization, but it is for conservative African Americans.
Well, there is a perception that most black people are liberals, they're Democrats, and there are, as in most cases, there are opposing points of view. And so Project 21 is basically a group of black conservatives that whenever something happens in the public eye and a differing point of view is offered, they come to us.
All right, let's talk about Wednesday.
Sure.
No GOP leaders at the March on Washington. Invitations did go out to several, and none were able to make it. Some saying, well, I was invited too late, I already had plans, et cetera, et cetera. Do you agree with Michael Steele that someone should have been there?
Well, yes, and I think the ball was dropped on many counts. I think a lot of it has to do with the over-partisan atmosphere that goes on in Washington D.C. that bleeds all to multiple aspects of variety of topics. In this case, like for example, a few years ago, when a certain president was in the White House, and people on the other side had a philosophical difference of opinion. That philosophical difference of opinion was called dissent, and it was also deemed patriotic. Now, when anyone has a philosophical problem with this president, it's not called patriotic, it's not called dissent, it's called racism. So it's very hard to have a good discussion on issues with that.
Right.
So now when you bring this to this event, certain people were invited. I personally, if I was part of the committee that was doing the scheduling, I probably would have tried to do this a little bit earlier than a couple of weeks out in some cases. Two presidents could not come for health reasons.
Right. The Bush presidents.
Right, but recorded messages could have been offered. I mean, there's a variety of alternatives that would not make this event look as partisan as it did look.
In terms of reaching out, we know right now that the Republican Party is very concerned about reaching out to minorities, to African Americans, Hispanics, and the like. And I've heard some. I think you had said before that it's obviously a partisan event. Maybe they would be booed. People don't want to be booed. But isn't it an opportunity, regardless if you're going to be booed or not? And you don't know if you're going to be booed, but isn't it an opportunity to reach out and make a connection to people that you are trying to reach?
Sure, and I think that there were politicians, former and present, that should have been invited. Tim Scott, the only sitting black senator on Capitol Hill, was not invited. He would have been a great person, a great spokesperson. Obviously, I think the planners may have been also concerned with the optics. I mean, to have black Republicans or just Republicans in general go out to an audience that and might have been risked being booed, I would have been queasy about that myself.
The tenor of the day, obviously, with no GOP folks there, you do tend to get one side of things, but the tenor of the day seemed to be, one of cooperation, really marking what had happened 50 years before and all of that. It seems like the crowd would have been, I mean, it's hard to say, but it seems like the crowd would have been respectful to whoever may have been speaking up there.
Sure, but there are also some issues that that are pretty divisive on both sides. For example, voting rights. I mean, no one is denying voting rights, but there are various aspects of that are controversial. And I was there with a video crew,
right,
and we were asking some people about certain people who were not there, like for example, Congressman Allen West. And this one woman said that he would have probably come there and said things that he believed, but that was not a place to speak what was in your head.
Gotcha.
And so if you have people who are going up there who are going to be delivering a particular message to a particular side the way that that side wants it, you know, it's not really something that might have been conducive for free speech and free thought.
You were there. You
Yes.
were talking to people overall. What was your view of the day and how it went?
Well, besides the rain, it was a great event, and there were a lot of people there who were there for to celebrate the Dr. King's speech, and a lot and where America has come since that speech was given. And of course, there were a lot of other different groups there with all their various issues as well. But for the most part, it was a great event.
All right, very good. Bob Parks is the national spokesperson for Project 21. We'll have you back in sometime to talk more.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.